I was fascinated by television when I was a little boy. I thought I could take the back of the set off and actually find little Sonny and Chers in there. I didn't want to meet the stars, I wanted to explore their worlds. As I grew up, the hunt was on to find the actual places I saw on television and in the movies. Now I'd like to share these worlds with you, so hop on board as we go bobbing along to the real worlds you've seen on the big and small screens. So where are we off to today? Let me give you a hint. It's a land of power, money, oil, and catfights. No, we're not going to my house. Don't worry about that. We're going to Filoli in Woodside, up near San Francisco, in fact. It's the home of the Carringtons from Dynasty. Let's see, Warren Beatty was there, and Heaven Can Wait. We had Brendan Fraser's George of the Jungle, and most recently it was used in the musical version, or the movie version actually, of Broadway's Rent. So what are we waiting for? Let's go. Well, you may have been expecting to see John Forsythe, Joan Collins, maybe Julia Roberts or Brendan Fraser. You got me. But it is bobbing along after all, so who were you really expecting? But I won't leave you stuck with me for a while. We're going to meet with Tom Rogers, the retired curator of Filoli, tell you what Filoli is all about, and show you all around it. So let's go see if he's home. I hope he's home, or we're... He's home. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Tom.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, too.
Thank you. Glad you've come to Filoli this morning.
Thank you. Thanks for having us in your beautiful home.
Not at all. Not at all.
All right.
Wanna come on in?
I'd be happy to.
Good.
Thank you. Now, if this home looks familiar to you, you've seen it in so many TV shows, so many movies, but the one TV show that I know it for, and most of you will know it for, is Dynasty. And yes, they did film here. You've seen the outside mostly, but they also came back here in about 2006 to do a reunion called Catfights and Caviar. And I think you were here for that. Is that right?
I sure was. You know, first I thought I was going to have my chance to be on television, and then they found out I was going to be speaking and greeting like I did you at the door. Mm-hmm. And the legal department threw me out because I didn't belong to the union. And it didn't turn out to be a good move for me to join the union. It was $1,300 to join the union. I only got paid $64 for being in the movie. So anyway, the two ladies arrived here and came in. You know, the stars of Dynasty.
Joan Collins.
Joan Collins.
And Linda Evans.
And Linda Evans. And I was the butler never saying anything. And I stood in the doorway, and Joan Collins came in, and she had a marvelous dress on. It was cut to here. And she had marvelous legs, believe me. And she threw her mink coat off into my arms, and the camera is focused right on me.
As it should be.
Of course. When Linda Evans walked in and stood right in front of me, and that was the end of my career.
Over before it started.
Yeah. What a shame.
It is.
Anyway.
Where are we?
We're in the entry hall of Filoli. I think you've just come in from the porch. Mm-hmm. So the courtyard outside is an introduction to the house. You walk up onto the front porch, and it could be inside if it had an outside wall. Mm-hmm. Now look at this room. It could be an exterior room, really.
That's true.
Yeah, and then we move on into the main reception room. This, in the original plans, was never expected to be a living room. It's a reception room. And consequently, I think it kind of interesting that we still have much of the same furniture that was here in the earliest days. The Bourne family had it when they built the house. It came in 1917. Mm-hmm. And some of the pieces that are here have been here all the way through the time they lived here. When the house was sold to the Roth family, the pieces stayed here. When it was given to the National Trust, the pieces stayed here. That tells me they didn't get used an awful lot.
No.
But it still is a pleasant room to be in. It's a wonderful room for parties, for standing around and chatting with people and sitting. So, a lovely room. Yes. I do want you to notice the large tapestry on the wall. This has been here from the beginning of the Bourne time, and is probably one of the great treasures of Filoli. Mm-hmm. A wonderful tapestry from the end of the 1600s. Beautiful piece that has been here for many, many years. And look at the beautiful fireplace. One of the things we treasure here, and this morning it's such a delight to be here while they're doing them, the flower arrangements throughout the house. And they don't always have towels wrapped around them, but we have to be very careful in a house like this to conserve, to care for, to be very, very careful of all of the pieces of furniture. And so it's always a joy to watch the flower arrangers working.
Oh, they do beautiful work
in the morning,
too.
Don't they? One of the most fun stories I remember about the making of Dynasty, or the aftermath, when people were going to see Dynasty mm-hmm. every week, people would come in on tour and they'd say, oh, you moved the staircase. Well, no, we didn't move the staircase. Well, then the explanation came that somebody had taken a slide of the staircase, because the staircase goes up in Dynasty from over here.
Right. It
goes up and comes this way. And so the slide got turned over, and the construction people made the stairway the wrong way. We heard that story over and over and over again. Well, in fact, the truth of the matter is that if, in fact, you were going to film and you're going to have people going from the front door to the staircase, back again on a repeated basis, you only have to do one camera setup here. But if the staircase goes up over there, you've got two setups to do.
Right.
Yeah. And so it was a very practical decision, but we loved it. Oh, you moved the staircase. We've just come across the hall from the staircase, and we're in the library now, which is my favorite room of the house. This is such a comfortable and beautiful room. But we need to take a quick look at the people who made this all possible. We're looking here on the wall at the two gold-framed pictures of Mr. and Mrs. Bourne, the people who built Filoli. Mr. Bourne owned the largest gold mine in the history of California, the Empire Mine up at Grass Valley. By the time he purchased the land to build this house on, he also owned all of the drinking water for the city of San Francisco. Not bad. And over here in the corner, you can see Mrs. Bourne in a charcoal sketch. On the table down below, the daughter in a photograph of a charcoal sketch, and her husband. All of these done by John Singer Sargent.
Where would this have been seen on TV or in movies? You were telling me a story about Rent?
Yeah, there's a great story of Rent. It was so much fun to watch that being filmed because there was a great party going on in the ballroom with people dancing and all. It was beautiful. Then the dancers come out of there and danced all the way up to the landing on the staircase, then turned around and came dancing back down the staircase and into this room where there was a very large pool table. And right up onto the pool table they went and danced and danced and danced. And then I've forgotten what happened.
You'll have to watch the movie.
Yes, we got to watch the movie. We've just moved from the library into the very next room, the study, or a man's office, or the family room, depending upon how it was used and which family was here. The picture over the fireplace is of Mrs. Roth. It was the Roth family who gave this wonderful property, 650 acres, and the house to the National Trust for Historic Preservation. And over here you'll see the wine cellar. Of course, it became necessary to have some place for the man of the house to just go and pick out the wine for dinner tonight. I do want you to see this. You'll note here, there apparently is no door at all. The same thing is true over on the other side, but when you open it, you have access to one of the first bars that was done in a private home here in California. In 1947, this one appeared in a photograph in Life magazine, listed as the way the rich and the famous live in California.
Well, we've made it into the ballroom. As I was just saying, every home should have one, don't you think? Every home should have two, why not? Most homes could fit in this ballroom now that I think about it. And you may have seen this, I know, in Dynasty, in the pilot. This is where Blake and Krystle got married, I believe. And Tom's got some other pretty interesting stories about what happened here too.
Well, many of you remember this also if you saw Heaven Can Wait, the Warren Beatty film. This was the gym in Heaven Can Wait. And in also another picture that it was used in a lot was Julia Roberts in Dying Young. And this was a fancy restaurant in San Francisco. And Julia and her boyfriend had dinner right over there under that mural. And when the dinner was finished, the set people brought me the tablecloth and 4 napkins that had been on that table, and one of the napkins has Julia Roberts' lipstick on it. It's in the archives of Filoli today. And then I do have to tell you this story. Julia was probably the hardest working actress I've ever seen on the property. She was just outstanding in her dedication to her job and doing this show. And she'd never seen the garden. And about 3 weeks after the film was finished and they were gone, I got a phone call asking if I would be willing to give a private tour to Julia Roberts the next Tuesday. Excuse me? So I was dressed up and fixed up and ready to go on Tuesday morning, and she never showed up. I never heard anything about it. But I'm the only man you know who's been stood up by Julia Roberts.
When I was a kid, maybe it comes from playing the game Clue, I always thought that big homes like this must have secret passageways and, hidden doors. And so I always wanted to accidentally get lost in a home like this or locked in it so I could go exploring. And I'm guessing this house has a few of those secret doors?
Of course we do.
I was hoping you'd say that. You want to show us one?
Sure.
All right.
Sure. Can I tell you how the most exciting thing happened at our time with that door?
Absolutely.
Okay. I was asked to give a private tour by the family, and it was for a wedding party. And we were standing at the fireplace at the other end of the room, and so the wedding party was watching us there giving the tour, and the family member that I'll be right back, Tom. He suddenly came through the secret passages, which I'm not going to tell you about, but he came out of this secret door, which goes, of course, up onto the stage. He came out of here very quietly, came here, threw his arms in the air and screamed bloody murder, scaring the members of the wedding party to death.
Of course.
Threw himself on the floor, burst out laughing, and got up and said, "Oh, I love that. I used to do that when I was a kid."
Well, now I know a lot of you are thinking, I could have a house just like this. And sure, you get right on that. And one way to make it better is you can actually go to Lowe's, and they have partnered with the National Trust for Historic Preservation for a lot of properties across the country, Filoli being one of them. And you can even get the paint that matches the ballroom. It's called Filoli Ballroom. How about that? And put it on your walls, the room will just grow, and before you know it, 400 of your closest friends can come celebrate. We're in Filoli's dining room, which, as you can see, is larger than most. I could be very comfortable dining here. And this room is familiar to me from the pilot of Dynasty, which they shot here. And I remember learning that this is where Fallon and Stephen were the Carrington siblings that actually got along. And they got along right here at this table. But other shows were filmed here too, I believe.
Yep. Many shows have to have somebody eating. And often the table is set this large for two people. And you usually have the very rich man at one end and the very rich lady at the other, and the very large arrangement in between, so they don't have to look at each other. When they used the table that way in one movie, they had a absolutely beautiful lace tablecloth that went all the way to the floor on all four sides, huge. And the set people afterward asked me if I'd seen that kind of a movie, and I said, sure. And they said, well, then you've seen this tablecloth because Hollywood only owns one. No, the dining room was often used by the family, and of course for big parties, the table was extended out to this length. It often was just a round tablecloth table in the middle of the room. Over in the corner, you see another table. We're very excited about having gotten that table back recently from the Roth family. It had been with Bill Roth in their home in New York, and they're smallening their living quarters now and gave us the dining table. So we're thrilled to have an actual table that has been here in the history of this house.
Did you say smallening?
Well, I made that up. We're now in the butler's pantry, and as far as the movie industry goes, they loved it when they were making The Game here. This became a scene several different times in the movie The Game. This is the headquarters for the staff. Obviously, there's a safe in the corner for the silver. And now, you know, at one time, there's a wonderful story about a young man who was at a party here, and he was becoming a little bit objectionable to the ladies who were here also at the party. And one of the young ladies lured him down here to this end of the house and locked him in the safe here. And then when she got ready to leave the party, she told the butler where he was. I've been trying for years to find out who it was. This is the call board. Yeah, the call board. And unfortunately, well, it alerts the staff here that they are needed in any of the major rooms of the house. And if you'll open the door down below, you'll find out that all of the staff bedrooms are alerted through here. If somebody presses the right button and needs somebody at one of the rooms in the house, it rings in the servant's bedroom.
Unlike homes today where the party usually ends up in the kitchen, I don't imagine that happened much back in the time when the original families lived here. So they didn't really put too much effort into making this room look as nice as all the other rooms in the house. But they didn't go cheap, did they? I mean, this is all Edison Hot Point.
We're very lucky now to know about Key, who was the cook here for the Roth family for 40-some years. Well, both at another house and here for 40 years. Key was famous for being able to reproduce the meals that Mrs. Roth would come downstairs, tell him what she'd had to eat at a restaurant the night before, and he would reproduce it for the family. And what the family could never understand is how Mrs. Roth knew what she'd eaten, because she'd never cooked a thing in her life. So anyway, it's one of the mysteries. Here's another mystery. And we offer prizes for any guest who comes here to Filoli. What is this? I found it in the back of a closet, way up in the top of the closet when we first opened Filoli. Now, what is this thing? You going to win the prize today?
I don't think I'm winning any prizes today.
No prizes? Well...
Chuck? Cameraman Chuck? No.
No? All right. It's not a toaster. It's a bacon cooker. Now, why aren't we making this? We'll make a fortune.
Exactly.
Do you have an idea for an episode of Bobbing Along? A favorite film or TV show location you'd love to see us visit? Send us a message at Bobbing Along TV on Facebook today. That's Bobbing Along TV on Facebook today. While you're there, be sure to like our page and spread the word. That's Bobbing Along TV on Facebook, the best place to learn about our upcoming shows and news. Now back to the show.
Here's a very rare view of this amazing grand staircase in Filoli. The second floor is not open to guests, but since we have Tom here, we can go anywhere we want. So this is a great view, and I'll tell you, after climbing it, I'm glad there's a big sofa up here. So I'm wiped out. Well, we've made it to the second floor, up that beautiful staircase, and we're in the... Goodness, they have signs all over. We're in the Sterling Library at Filoli, and it's now a library. It was used before as a sitting room, and I believe I've seen this used as a bedroom in the opening episode of Dynasty. I think they shot up here, but I'll have to watch again to see. But Tom, of course, knows a heck of a lot more than I do, and he can tell you, don't be shy. I know you're shy.
I am very shy.
He's got some stories for you.
Well, I think the most important thing I could tell you about this room is that it is a functioning research library on horticulture, garden design, architecture, and anything related to the period or directly to this house. And so it's a very useful library, and those of you who would like to come up here can make an appointment to have a chance to come into the Sterling Library. That takes a call to the education office here at Filoli. Okay, we've come down now from the Sterling Library, which is a research library, to the Friends of Filoli Library. And this library is just a wonderful resource for all the members of Filoli, the staff, and the volunteers. And there are 1,300 volunteers at Filoli.
What can you do to become a friend of Filoli? How do you become a friend of Filoli?
You pay money. You make a request. And then we of course have regular memberships, and those of course are available to be purchased when you arrive here, or can be on the internet at filoli.org.
Right.
Yeah.
And then do you do special things as a member? You can come to special shows?
Absolutely.
Do they decorate here for Christmas, I think, occasionally?
Oh, you haven't been to Christmas?
No, I haven't.
We remove all of the furnishings from downstairs. Those are all put in storage, and the downstairs turns into one of the most incredible stores you've ever seen.
Oh,
It
I'd like to see
is
that.
fantastic. And that sale goes on for a week, and we do it in fairly early. It's an early Christmas thing to do, because it takes us over 600 volunteers to put that activity on.
Wow.
You can't have volunteers close to Christmas.
No.
They've got other things to do. But it is an amazing experience to go there.
I'll have to come back.
Just a week ago, we had our flower show, and it was a wonderful success with some 65 flower arrangements, many table settings. Beautiful, beautiful show. Lots of activities here at Filoli.
Yeah.
It's certainly well worth getting a membership and getting to have admission here. And an additional thing then is to request to be allowed to come up to the library and use it. And people are allowed to do it.
As you're panning over there on the fireplace, I see a plate with Filoli on it.
Right. Was done by, from a photograph by a person who had come to Filoli from Italy and went home and had an Italian company make the plate and put the Filoli on it.
Nice.
Yeah, isn't that fun?
Yeah.
And you'll note that it's properly observed by two gentlemen in white.
Of course.
Yes,
All
of
my
course.
plates at home are.
Oh, I knew that.
Yes.
Knew that.
Another rare view that you don't often get from Filoli. We're on the upstairs balcony looking down into the court where we first pulled in and parked and started our whole tour. If you look over a little bit to the left, you'll see the roof of the ballroom, and the plant in the foreground is an amazing wisteria plant that has been growing here for over 70 years. first get to Filoli, you won't be able to pull right up in front of the house and park like I did. Although that was really fun, I have to tell you. You'll come here first to the visitor center, which is not just a place to buy your tickets to tour this amazing property, but they've got a great cafe in there, an outdoor patio where you can eat. Visitors centers is full of it's got more libraries in there and meeting rooms. There's a lot to do even just here, and they even offer guided tours of the hiking trails throughout the property, and they all start here too. So when you come to visit Filoli, you'll come here first and you'll go out through the rest of the property from here. Some of you may have been wondering what Filoli means. I used to think it was an Italian dessert, but that's just the way my mind works. It actually means fight, love, and live. And so I don't blow it, there's a longer version than that.
To fight for a just cause, to love your fellow man, and to live a good life. Filoli.
Perfect. Do it every day. One of your more famous shots of the Filoli property, you've got the carriage house in the background with the beautiful clock tower. You've got the famous lily pond where no one ever fought. Sorry to burst your bubble, but that wild cat fight between Linda Evans and Joan Collins wasn't filmed here, was it?
No. And we have said that over and over and over again. I think it was in L.A., wasn't it?
It was in Pasadena.
Ah.
At a home they used there called Arden Villa, and I'll put in some photos here. You might even be seeing them now of the actual lily pond where they had that fight, way down in Pasadena, nowhere near here.
Okay, send me a copy, would you?
I will. This, in fact, is one of 3 properties used for Filoli in Dynasty. This always being seen in the opening credits for the whole length of the series. Then they shot for a couple years at a home called the Enchanted Hill in Beverly Hills, which has since been torn down, because that's what they do in Beverly Hills. And then the Arden Villa in Pasadena, where they filmed the lily pond fight. Say that a few times fast. Tom and I are here in the Sundial Garden at Filoli. Filoli is over 600 acres.
That's right.
And 16 and a half of them are the formal gardens.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought this would be a beautiful place to end our show today. And I want to thank Tom so much. You have been an absolute treat, and you obviously love it here.
It's been a real joy to get to work with you on this.
Thank you.
Very much enjoyed doing it. Thank you.
So, come visit. Have a really good time. If you're lucky, Tom will still be here.
But it's a beautiful place, and we want you to come and enjoy it any time of the year. It's wonderful.
Absolutely.